ready to get started? All right, I'm so happy to see everyone here. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon as we launch Brighter Futures for Harris County Kids. Big thanks to Executive Director Tammy Khan here at the Children's Museum and to the museum for the incredible work that they do to make sure that our children's brains are challenged, that they're having fun, that the excellent programming that's constantly taking place at the museum. And I want to thank those in attendance. Commissioner Ellis, I know, just joined us, as well as this congressional district's representative, Congresswoman Lee, Congressman Green, Congresswoman Garcia is here, and Congresswoman Fletcher. Now, before I continue, I think I see, are we having an issue, y'all, with the camera? We're good?
Yeah, this is the guidance center. Yeah,
good. Okay.
Every time you're taking a picture.
So we'll keep that chair empty. Yes. Now, we're here because of an $84 million investment. And this $84 million investment came only due to the members of Congress that are standing alongside me today and the work that their colleagues did and the Biden administration did to ensure that Harris County receives these dollars that we can now invest in our children. I've long been a champion for programs that seek to build a better future for Harris County children. Since taking office, I've worked to expand the possibilities of what the county can do to ensure that our youngest residents have the strongest possible start. In 2020, we implemented best-in-class, family-friendly policies, including 12 weeks paid leave for all new parents, additional sick leave to care for ill children, lactation rooms, and resources for Harris County employees that needed help finding childcare. All of that helped our employees not have to choose between having a child and keeping their job. And then we got to work to figure out what more we can do for our children and our families. Going back to 2019, we've organized a series of community conversations, some of them right here in the Children's Museum, with dozens of local early childhood and childhood organizations, with parents, with families, to try to identify what more is needed. What we learned is that the need in Harris County is substantial, and that children were being left behind because the county had never adequately invested in early childhood programs or services. Just months into this effort, COVID ground so much of the world to a halt. But we persisted, ultimately leading to the establishment of a multi-million-dollar early childhood impact fund, which served to identify and support the most impactful types of programs to get children off to a strong start. These efforts were just the beginning, and our work was supercharged by the investments from the federal government and our colleagues here. The American Rescue Plan, or ARPA, has provided an unprecedented opportunity to create a pathway to long-term, secure future that would not otherwise be possible. Today we're unveiling the Brighter Futures for Harris County Kids Initiative, which so far includes $80 million of investments in early childhood to improve outcomes for our youngest residents. These investments positively affect newborns, toddlers, children, and families. And they will have ripple effects that make the future brighter for all our children, for our entire economy, and for our entire region. This is a historic investment. Never before has Harris County had this focus on children. I believe, along with the other elected officials standing beside me, that our kids, our little ones, are the light that will lead Harris County to a brighter future. And I want to make sure I acknowledge Commissioner Garcia, who has been a partner every step of the way in this investment. He couldn't join us in person today, but he was key to making this happen. Our historic investments focuses on 3 areas. First is developmental support to promote healthy brain development and language skills for our kids. Second is programs to support parents in caring for newborns and children. And finally, childcare and early childhood education for our youngest kids. I'll cover a little bit about it today, but there's more information at harriscountykids.com. On developmental support, the Texas Children's Hospital's Upwards program means that parents of thousands of young children will receive coaching and support to promote their child's brain development. The second program in this pillar is lead abatement. Across the U.S. and Harris County, childhood exposure to lead leads to lower academic achievements, health problems, and increased contact with the criminal justice system. In 2017 alone, 1,000 children in Harris County were found to have elevated lead levels in their blood, and there is no cure for prolonged lead exposure. We will test 20,000 county residents and abate 800 homes over 4 years in Harris County, a 233% increase to what's currently being done, serving 16,000 young children. The second pillar is family support, programs to support parents in caring for their newborn and young children. Last month, the Commissioners Court unanimously approved $7.7 million to tackle maternal and child mortality in Harris County with a specific emphasis in the African American community. We have a home visitation component that's going to match 300 moms and their children in 4 cohorts over 2 years, guiding them through the process of pregnancy, childbirth, and parenting. This pillar also includes the Safe Babies Initiative. While our state has continued underfunding foster care, we've invested $2.4 million in this program to support babies and toddlers in the foster care system and to reunite foster kids and their biological parents, which leads to better lifelong outcomes. The final initiative in this pillar is the child tax credit outreach. Our $500,000 investment translated into a $12 million in the pockets of Harris County parents, dollars that they were able to ensure their kids' needs were met. Finally, we have the child care and education pillar. We have 2 programs there. One is a $48 million investment in child care for our youngest Harris County residents. When we dug into the inequalities that existed 3 years ago, we found that over 100,000 children with working parents in Harris County live in a quality child care desert, with few or no affordable options for quality child care. We also found that half of all infants and toddlers in Harris County with working parents do not have formal child care, which often prevents parents from re-entering the workforce. The $48 million investment is the largest known investment of ARPA dollars by any county or city in the nation into early childhood education. We've also partnered with the Alliance to expand and support home-based child care capacity in low to medium income areas of Harris County and help support home-based caregivers that may be in financial difficulties. These initiatives are proof points that local government can partner with supporting kids, parents, workers, and businesses in smart, evidence-based strategies. Our goal is to continue working with our partners federally at the state level to support families, to support children, and I'm so grateful to the Biden administration and to the members of Congress, as well as to my colleagues, Commissioners Ellis and Garcia, who have been so instrumental in making sure that this investment took place. Let me briefly repeat my remarks in Spanish, and then we'll hear from Commissioner Ellis, followed by Congresswoman Lee, whose district we're in, Congressman Green, Congresswoman Garcia, and Congresswoman Fletcher, as well as Director Khan.
Desde el principio de mi trabajo como juez del condado, he sido defensora de programas que buscan enriquecer las vidas de nuestros niños, de los niños más jóvenes y los miembros más jóvenes de nuestra comunidad para asegurar un futuro más brillante. En el 2020 implementamos mejores políticas laborales, las mejores en su categoría. Permiso familiar pagado, días de licencia por enfermedad, sala de lactancia para los 20,000 empleados del condado. Y seguimos trabajando en qué más podíamos hacer. Hoy día estamos anunciando el programa más grande que el condado jamás ha visto para apoyar a los niños más jóvenes en nuestra comunidad. Esta es la iniciativa de Futuros Brillantes para los niños del condado Harris. Estas inversiones afectan positivamente a recién nacidos, infantes, niños y familias y causan una reacción en cadena que hace un futuro más brillante para nuestra comunidad y para nuestra economía. Esta iniciativa es posible gracias a el ARPA, al programa de American Rescue Plan, que han apoyado estos congresistas al lado mío, al igual que la administración Biden. Esta inversión es histórica. Nunca antes ha invertido el condado tanta cantidad para enfocarse en los niños. De hecho, nunca antes había un énfasis en los niños de nuestra comunidad. Pero yo creo que nuestros niños, los pequeños, son el futuro de este condado. Nuestra inversión se enfoca en 3 áreas específicas. Primero, el apoyo en el desarrollo para promover el crecimiento sano del cerebro y habilidades en el lenguaje de nuestros pequeños. Segundo, programas para apoyar a padres en su cuidado de recién nacidos e infantes. Y finalmente, inversión en el cuidado infantil para nuestros niños pequeños. La primera área que se enfoca en el desarrollo del cerebro de nuestros niños involucra al Texas Children's Hospital. Este programa permitirá que miles de padres de niños pequeños reciban entrenamiento para ayudar a ese desarrollo cerebral. El segundo programa es el programa de reducción de plomo. Nos hemos dado cuenta que a través de los Estados Unidos y en el condado Harris, la exposición al plomo lleva a menor rendimiento académico, problemas de salud y mayor contacto con el sistema de justicia criminal. En el condado Harris, 1,000 niños en el 2017 tenían niveles de plomo en la sangre elevados. Vamos a poder evaluar 20,000 residentes del condado y vamos a poder tratar el plomo en 800 hogares a través de nuestro condado. No hay cura para exposición prolongada al plomo. La segunda categoría es el apoyo a las familias. La semana pasada aprobamos $7 millones para atacar la tasa de muerte materna y la tasa de muerte infantil en nuestras comunidades. También estamos trabajando con el sistema de las familias en crianza temporal. Es un sistema que enfocará la reunificación de las familias y los niños en crianza temporal y apoyará a aquellos niños y pequeños en el sistema de crianza temporal. Además, una inversión de $500,000 en el crédito tributario por hijos o crecer la información acerca de este crédito ayudó a que $12 millones llegaran a los bolsillos de familias en nuestro condado Harris para apoyar a los niños. Finalmente, tenemos la sección de el cuidado de niños, la educación de primera infancia. Hemos invertido $48 millones en educación de primera infancia de calidad para los niños en el condado Harris. También estamos apoyando los cuidadores en el hogar, aquellos que proveen cuidado a los niños pequeños desde su hogar para que tengan los fondos necesarios para operar. Este programa demuestra que el gobierno local puede trabajar en estos temas. El apoyar a los niños, no hay nada más importante. Le agradezco nuevamente a la administración Biden y a los congresistas que nos acompañan el día de hoy. We'll hear first from Commissioner Ellis. Thank you so much, Commissioner, for your support.
Thank you, Judge. I'm glad to be here. I have been in this building many times. I had been here when it opened. I was here when it was dedicated. And with 3 kids who grew up here, I've been here when it closed a few times late at night. First, I want to thank our members of Congress. These members of Congress are the reason that we have this funding. So each one of you, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, in order as you sit here. I guess next of all protocols are Congressman Al Green, Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia, and also Congresswoman Lizzie Fletcher. I want to thank the Biden administration for having the vision to give us the money to do this. Judge Hidalgo, I want to thank you. I can remember being in this neighborhood not too far away. If my memory serves me correctly, we were at the Health Museum. It was shortly after you won. You were having a community meeting, and you had all of the children advocates there. And you made a commitment to step into this space, to get this county to step into this space when you were running. Although in the past the county tried to do something about child care and failed. But you made that commitment. This, my friend, is a promise that you made and a promise that you have kept. So I want to give you a round of applause for that. Thank you for your leadership. And of course, Commissioner Garcia, on some of the items that she mentioned, we had unanimous support. On the bigger ticket ones, we did not. But thank you for that. I also want to roll back to January the 1st. At 12:06 a.m., the first baby in 2022 was born in the Houston region over at LBJ Hospital. She weighed in at 6 pounds, 9 ounces and was delivered a week early by C-section. Her mother had a high-risk pregnancy because of her age and elevated blood pressure. In spite of these challenges, little Sarah entered the world. Her parents called it a miracle, and she was born with a purpose. This is the best possible outcome for pregnancies like that. But unfortunately, it's not shared by all people who give birth. Like Sarah's parents, all of us here, the members of Congress who came up with the funding, the judge who had the vision, all of us who supported it, also believe children are born with a purpose. All children are born with a purpose. And it's our sacred duty to help them reach it, starting before the cradle. We can only do this by building a system of care, one that's easy for new families to navigate, with the singular purpose of supporting healthy children. That's what this commitment is about today, putting children first and putting family first. So, Judge, I'm glad to be here with you, and I'll turn this over to my friend, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee.
Commissioner, thank you so very much for highlighting the site that we're in. And Judge Hidalgo, let me thank you for allowing the backdrop to be beautiful balloons and the sounds of children. There's nothing sweeter than the sounds of healthy children having fun. And so for the first moment, let me acknowledge Tammy, and I don't see Lauren, but we didn't really get to see you. So behind the scenes, but just step out so we can give you an applause. Tammy has been the executive director for longer than she would acknowledge, but the beauty and the growth of all this are attributable to you. I am a Children's Museum mommy, a member of the board, and I think I have a plaque over there on the wall. That's how far back we go, and I'm excited about this. Let me, first of all, Judge Hidalgo, acknowledge you and be able to say to the nation that there's never been a more committed, dedicated, and creative county executive than we have seen in Judge Hidalgo. From the pandemic to her rising leadership nationally, and certainly to this visionary effort on families. And I look forward to working with you on our mutual concern and commitment on monkeypox. And so I thank you again. I'll pause again to give Judge Hidalgo a really outstanding leader my appreciation. Let me first of all indicate that the amount of money that came from the American Rescue Act was a big fat $350 billion. $350 billion. But to the county, that I congratulate, acknowledging Commissioner Ellis's deep passion for children and getting the job done. My colleagues, Congresswoman Fletcher, Congressman Green, and Congressman Garcia, collectively I think that our votes represent the best of Harris County and the needs of our constituents. And so I'm excited about the whopping $86.2 million that the county is investing in our families. This is a first and deserves our recognition and applause. And so I simply want to comment on why this is so very important. First of all, if you keep a count on children, such as the Kids Count data book, the interests that helps children are their economic well-being, good education, health, family, and community. And as we well know, we had trials and tribulations during the pandemic. Families were somewhat displaced, some evicted. Families lost jobs. Families lost their way. Major findings in the most recent report includes that our children have had an improvement in our economic situation, primarily because of the child tax credit. But stagnation continues in markers of educational success. There's been a slight rise in median income, but a fall in parental stability. We know that in addition to those indicia of improvement, we have the issue of the family being deteriorated. So why is this so very important? Because we've had a rise in poverty. We've had issues where so many of the American children live in poverty. So I want to focus in particular on the program of maternal and child health program. I want to thank you for the child tax credit, the Upwards Brain Development Program, the County Connections Youth Summer Program, keeping our children, young men, young girls off the street and saving lives, home-based child care, we're so very proud, lead abatement, and $48 million for child care contracted slots, 1,000 new slots, 1,000 new slots for our children and maybe more. But it's important that they stop for a moment to focus on maternal and child health, 7.7 million. We know that 42 out of 100,000 are suffering from maternal mortality in African American population, 32 out of 100,000 for Native Americans, and 13 out of 100,000 for Hispanic. Between 2 and 6 times women in the African American community die from maternal mortality. And so the idea of this program, where there is a visitation, where there's an assessment of a pregnant woman, where there's an assessment that the baby is healthy once born, is going to save lives. If there's any program besides the child care that really adds to the wholeness of dealing with a family, it is a family that wants to give birth, wants a healthy pregnancy, and in fact is able to do so. This is a game changer. Helping our families changes the matrix in Houston and Harris County, and it makes this a destination city because people recognize here's a county that believes in brighter futures. So I appreciate Congressman Garcia. I want to mention him in his absence, the real leadership that has taken place at the county with our county commissioners and our judge. We know there is a new day, and I, for one, want to see that new day continue on and on and on, because if anyone knows how our children can benefit from the federal fundings that we have, it is the county leadership that we have now, and it certainly is Judge Lina Hidalgo. Now I want to yield to Congressman Al Green.
I thank the gentlelady for yielding, and would start with something that I think is exceedingly important. We send the money, but the money that we send, your tax dollars, I contend, without hesitation, reservation, or equivocation, that money is being handled judiciously by our county judge and the commissioners that supported this program, and they deserve an expression of appreciation for what they're doing. Would you kindly join me in giving them such an expression of appreciation? They are good stewards of this money, because if you just take a tour of this facility, you can see what tomorrow looks like. This facility really houses the future, because our children are the future, but when you come here, you get to see them. And what is so marvelous and magnificent about this future is it looks like what America looks like. Just tour the museum and see all of these beautiful children from all of the various cultures, and you can understand why Houston is on the cutting edge of societal change when it comes to making sure that all persons have equal access to opportunities. Houston, Texas is that kind of city. Let's hear it for Houston, Texas, and all of the people who serve to make Houston what it is. It is said that housing is the most expensive expenditure that a family has. But did you know that the second most costly is child care? Child care. This legislation helps families with child care, which means that families can have members of the family actually go out to work. So in a sense, it helps people to get to work because they know that child care is there for their children. But it also does something else. It helps with the wages that child care workers will receive. We want to make sure that everyone in this country who works full-time lives above the poverty line. This bill helps to assure that child care workers are not living in poverty as they are helping to bring the future forward. For this, I think the Congress of the United States owes an expression of appreciation to the county for what it's done to bring this program to fruition. So I, on behalf of the Congress of the United States of America, will salute Harris County, especially the commissioners and Commissioner Ellis, the county judge, for what they have done, especially the county judge because she's on the point. Give her a hand, please, for what she has done, and I do it on behalf of the Congress of the United States of America. Finally, this, friends. I regret that too often some people don't understand how important these programs are. I regret that they don't understand what it means to see little children blossom and to become a part of a great future that we have here in Houston. And I say I regret it because I know that there are some who don't take seriously, as the judge and the commissioner are taking it, they don't take it as seriously. And I want the world to know that we are fortunate to have some people who will take a stand to make sure that our children are taken care of, even if it means that there are some who may differ. I commend you for what you're doing. There is no way to say thank you enough, but I do want to say thank you, and I commend you, and I ask that you, my friends, remember the persons who have the courage to bring these programs forward to protect and aid our families. I thank you, Judge. I thank you, Commissioner. I thank you to my colleagues, Jackson Lee, Fletcher, and Garcia. We are a team. This is what unity looks like, and I thank you very much. Thank you, one and all.
Good afternoon. My name is Sylvia Garcia, and I'm from the 29th Congressional District, which is part of Houston, a couple of other cities, and a lot of the East End. First, I want to thank the museum for hosting us today. I, too, have been here very many times with nieces, with nephews, with great nieces and nephews, and pretty soon I'll even bring a great niece, nephew that was just born a couple of months ago, so I now am three greats. I keep telling my nieces and nephews that it's time already. I know I'm great. This is where it should stop. But this has always been a great place, and what better place to host this event where we highlight the work that Harris County is investing in to help our children to ensure that they have a brighter future. And to Judge Hidalgo and Commissioners Ellis and Garcia, we thank them for their vision, and as we say in Texas, and the cojones that they have, to embark on investing in something that traditionally is not something Harris County does. And I know a little bit about Harris County since I've been there and been at the table. And I've heard people tell me, even when I had a youth program in my precinct, I don't know why you do all that stuff because that's not what commissioners do. Well, it's not true. We can build all the roads and bridges that we have money for, but if we don't build a good road and bridge to the future for our children, then that road is really a road to nowhere. I believe that when I was commissioner, and I believe that today. That's why it's really great to see that these commissioners have put children before politics, children before political agendas, children before party politics, and invested these dollars. We put families first and their children because it's important that they remain healthy and have access to the resources that they need to have a brighter future. That's why I'm so proud and passionate about this initiative, Brighter Futures Initiative. This local investment of $86 billion, and you heard the numbers from Judge Hidalgo, you heard the detail from some of my colleagues, is really money that was sent from Congress to, yes, and we thank you for the credit. But frankly, think of all the tax dollars you pay to the federal government. So really, it's our job to bring back some of those dollars. And quite frankly, when you look at the amount of dollars that Texas sends to Washington, we don't get near the amount back in our investments here locally. So I'm really proud that these dollars were sent to Harris County, and that we're putting them to good use. We knew at the time when we were putting the American Rescue Plan together that it was important to keep the kids at the forefront and always remember that everything we're doing was about the kids. I still remember, I can even see her here today, although I think today she's in Korea, Speaker Pelosi telling us at a breakfast, remember, it's about the kids, it's about the kids, it's about the kids. And that's what these programs are about, the kids. So I couldn't be prouder to have these funds coming back to fund the programs that have already been mentioned, because it's about making sure that families can stay together, that they can thrive and build their futures together. The poverty rate has been reduced by half just by the child tax credit that we implemented. Just think about that, cut in half. And that comes directly not from me, but from Treasury Secretary Yellen. Imagine if we made it a permanent program and what it could do to the child poverty rates and the opportunities that children would be able to have. For me, that it's a high priority to make sure that we make that a permanent program. Secondly, a priority that I'll continue to fight on, of course, is child care. Women did not go back to work after the pandemic at the same numbers that others did, because some of them still don't have access to child care. A lot of child care centers were closed during the pandemic, and many have not opened. So we still need to invest a lot more dollars on child care to make sure that all our workers have the opportunity to reach their full potential. So point blank, these funds will create a brighter future for our kids and help ease the pain and the burden on hardworking families. I promise to continue to fight for our kids and families in Harris County, and to always, always put families over politics. Together, we are building a better America and a brighter future for all our children. With that, I yield now to my colleague, Representative Fletcher.
Well, good afternoon. I am so glad to be here this afternoon with you, Judge Hidalgo, with Commissioner Ellis, with my colleagues, Congresswoman Jackson Lee, Congresswoman Garcia, and Congressman Green, to highlight the historic initiatives in the Harris Families First program to address infant and maternal mortality, to bolster early childhood development programs, to provide child care, and to invest in families throughout Harris County. I just couldn't be more proud to be standing here with this amazing group of people, and I'm so proud to represent this community in Washington along with my colleagues here. And I often say in Washington to people from across the country that we're really onto something here in Houston and Harris County, and that's exactly what we are seeing today with the launch of this Brighter Futures for Harris County Kids program. So I want to thank you, Judge Hidalgo, for inviting me here, of course, to celebrate, but for your leadership that is sustained and effective in your work to make a difference for the lives of Harris County's residents. And I'm so glad to be a part of this program because it reminds us all of the importance of our partnership between Harris County and our congressional delegation, with our city, with our state. All of us working together can work to deliver this kind of progress. And of course, I was so glad to join with my colleagues in March of last year when we voted for the American Rescue Plan Act and all the work we did in the year before it finally was passed to identify the needs and to advocate. And one of the things I think is really important for folks to understand is how our delegation worked together to advocate that these funds come directly to Harris County, because we know that the people who are in charge in Harris County are going to make good decisions and know our community best. And so that is so important to know that in addition to mobilizing the nationwide vaccine distribution that we saw, the American Rescue Plan Act has done so much in providing much needed funds to state and local governments for improvements like the ones that we're seeing today. And in total, I believe it was about $1 billion in funds coming to Harris County from the American Rescue Plan Act. And it's so important because today we see what Harris County is doing with that money, with this rollout. $84 million for our kids and their futures. And bringing about change for our communities, rebuilding our communities, bringing people together after the pandemic requires that kind of collaboration and partnership and creativity that we're seeing here. So I won't repeat all of the numbers that we've heard, but I think it's worth noting that we are talking about a $48 million investment in high quality childcare. So important. $7.7 million for a home visitation program to address maternal mortality and infant mortality. And this is something we've been talking about in Congress. It's exactly the kind of idea that we can take back from Harris County and tell our colleagues in Congress what we're doing. And as a member of the Black Maternal Health Caucus, I'm very proud to go back with the ideas and the examples of how we do things in Harris County, how we come together to get things done. This is an incredible investment in our families and our future, looking at the Early Childhood Education Impact Fund with evidence-based early childhood programs, and of course, as my colleagues have mentioned and the judge mentioned, helping people get access to those federal tax credits for families across Harris County. I know that in the 7th Congressional District that I have the privilege of representing, an estimated 82.5% of children in the district benefited from the expanded child tax credit under the American Rescue Plan. And Harris County is making sure that people can access those credits. It's so important for us to work together, and I'm so proud to be standing here today with our leaders who are identifying problems and solving them, who are bringing people together with creative ideas and a true commitment to making Harris County's future brighter. So I thank you so much, Judge Hidalgo, for including me today, and I'm so glad to be here with you, Commissioner Ellis, and my colleagues as we launch this incredible program.
Thank you. We'll take any questions. Oh, I thought I'm so welcome. Welcome, Director Khan. Thank you so much.
No one takes the mic away from our judge, but I have to say, wow. I am the only one here who was not elected to hold the responsibility these people around me do. But I can tell you that we have had kings, we've had queens, we've had presidents, and we've had a lot of other important people here, but we have never had a group today like this. We do a lot of fun things at the museum. We take a lot of things very seriously, and we translate it into important things that people can do with their children to ensure their lives are better and happier and more fulfilling. But I have never stood here so close to the Avengers and the Justice League in one grouping. And I know these people have been working for decades, even before they became our elected officials, because the Honorable Sheila Jackson Lee was on the first board of the Children's Museum 44 years ago, before it was even a thing. So thank you all, each and every one of you. I know you, and I admire you, and we all feel that way about you. I'm really here to give you some important message, and I'm going to get out of the way. One of the things we have done in just the last week, besides work in 12 different locations around the city with social service partners, in addition to the 3,500 people that have walked in today, our partnership with Harris County, where we were giving COVID vaccinations for young children last week, is to work with Texas Children's Hospital and the Ronald McDonald House Charities to ensure that children have an opportunity for back-to-school inoculations. It's already that time, moms, dads, and grandparents, to come to the Children's Museum. Thursday nights, we're open from 5 to 8, no charge. And that number that you can call for pre-registration is 832-824-6355. Go to our websites and look up free vaccinations if you'd like to. Judge, would you like to translate in Spanish, or Henry can do that? There is the number. Please, ma'am, just so they know that they're welcome to come.
Que ya empieza, dice la directora, que ya empieza la escuela y con eso es hora de vacunar a los niños. Entonces aquí en el Museo de los Niños estamos trabajando todos juntos para vacunar a nuestros pequeños. Pueden venir este fin de semana, estarán disponibles las vacunas y se puede registrar en el 832-824-6355 o por internet en la página web del Museo de los Niños. Entonces, acompáñenos para vacunar a los pequeños. Thank you, Director Khan. So we heard the importance of getting the kids vaccinated before we head back to school. And the hours, Director, were from 5 to 8 every Thursday night. We're doing vaccines here at the museum. So thank you all for that. Do we have any questions from the pool? Yes. Yeah, I can repeat the question. Yes. So the question was how the child care slots will work and how people apply, and how exactly is it going to work. So we've just now committed the funds, right? $48 million, an additional $2 million to evaluate the program, to have independent evaluation. Right now, that program is going through the procurement process to identify exactly who's going to administer it, who those slots are going to go to, and we're going to prioritize slots in the communities where they have what we call child care deserts. So the communities where there really is not access to high quality child care. Once we build the program, we'll have information about how people can apply, but it's going to take a few months, probably into the beginning of next year. There's other programs, a lot of these are already underway. For example, the lead abatement program is already underway, the maternal mortality program will be running around November, and various of the other programs are already going. Obviously, the child tax credit program was already done, and it brought $12 million back into Harris County because we helped those families apply who didn't know how to or didn't know the child credits were available. En español, ¿cómo funcionan los cupos para la educación temprana? Son 48 millones de dólares para guarderías y educación temprana y 2 millones de dólares para evaluar el programa. Entonces, esos 48 millones ya se han comprometido a este proyecto y ahora estamos en el proceso de identificar cuál entidad va a administrar esos fondos. Es un proceso que el condado lleva a cabo y exactamente dónde se crearán estos programas de educación temprana. El enfoque va a ser en áreas del condado donde presentemente no hay suficientes cupos de educación temprana de calidad. Esto tomará por ahí unos meses para desarrollar entrado el próximo año, pero ya hay varios programas. Por ejemplo, el programa de mortalidad materna e infantil se lanzará en noviembre y el programa para el crédito tributario ya se aplicó, ya recibimos 12 millones de dólares. Any other questions? Thank you so much. Thank you.